The Aboriginal lands of Kakadu, situated in remote northern Australia and home to the Bininj people for over 65,000 years. This is the oldest surviving culture on Earth. Early European settlers deemed this harsh but beautiful place as inhospitable. So how have the Bininj lived in harmony for so long with this proclaimed uninhabitable land? And what challenges do they now face with a rapidly changing world? It's Yege season, a special time of year for the Bininj, when they celebrate connection to country, an interdependent relationship between them and their ancestral lands, by holding a great food festival to showcase the abundance that nature provides. Ben, owner of Kakadu Kitchen, which educates people about native Australian bush food, explains the complexities the Bininj have with food in the land.
Living with the land, the way that Indigenous people have in Australia and here in the park, comes with a cultural responsibility. What we're saying is that it comes with a law that goes all the way back to our creation time stories. Doesn't mean that we just go out and eat anything and everything. There's actually rules that govern what we eat, when we eat it, how we eat it. We call it Nagarigan, which is the way that it has always been done. And that's continued over 65,000 years here in Kakadu National Park.
In the build-up to the festival, the Bininj hunt and forage throughout Kakadu. The sustainability of their culture relies on the preservation of the land and the wild foods that grow here, including yams, one of the most important of the spiritual foods and staple in the Bininj diet.
We're not going to destroy the tree. We're just going to pull this yam out, which is sitting next to the tree, and then we'll take the top of the yam off and replant it. The yam will regrow to the same size of the one that we're pulling out. So next year we'll come back here and there'll be another yam sitting here the same size.
This yam is poisonous. Using knowledge passed down through the generations, the Bininj know the exact process to treat this yam.
Now we're going to put him into this little mesh bag where the water can flow through the net. You do have to be careful, you know, there are crocs in here. And we'll come back tomorrow and collect this and it'll be ready to eat.
With the yam left soaking overnight in the crocodile-infested creek, it's off deep into the outback to go hunting game for the food festival. Buffalo and pig are among some of the introduced species that cause immense environmental damage in Kakadu. Along with kangaroo, the Bininj now hunt them for meat. The elders explain the plan for the hunt, and they're using an unexpected tool.
For bushfire and for hunting, it's just not for just burning bush and let it go and waste all the animal going past. We made a fire all around like this, and leave it open door. So you can burn him all this area, and you have to have the river here somewhere. We have to be on the creek. Sometimes fire comes really rushing, you know, it's really dangerous, especially when it's raining.
You can feel the wind blowing.
If the fire behind them, they have to come to the river more safe. They think the river, but someone there waiting for them.
Probably a group will be there, another group will be
in those days, with a spear, and now with gun, you know. But fire, the fire, all the time fire.
Patchwork burning aids hunting by flushing the animals out, but it's also a 65,000-year-old land management practice that science has now realised is essential for many plants to grow and animals to thrive.
You really need a well-rounded knowledge of country when you're burning. You know, you need to know the small details and the bigger details, from, you know, what birds are still nesting in the grass to what sort of country you are in that you're burning and what direction the wind is going to go. Burn little patches all around the country so that we don't get big wildfires later. And that's a very important part of sustainability. Traditionally, it was a very fine art of burning. It's a lifelong process. You know, when you get to the very end, that's why ceremony is very important. That's our institutions, our universities, you know, and that's the place where you learn how things come together in the natural world.
Bessie Coleman, South Kakadu's clan leader and well-respected elder, has noticed there are increasing challenges in passing down culture to the next generation. She has set up the All-Mooka Ranger Group, taking young people out on country, teaching them her knowledge.
How we know now when to start burning? We look at little.
We look at time for us to burn now, but we're going to save some grass.
For a wet season.
For wet season burn. Feeling proud with them girls, and they'll be the next generation. That will be their job.
Like we got to carry her knowledge to pass on to our children and to our children's children. And it's important that we do that, because if we don't, then everything will just be a mess.
Aboriginal Australians have been the keepers of fire for so long that in places where they have been dispossessed, the build-up of forest fuels has caused catastrophic wildfires that burn too hot, resulting in the death and destruction of plants, animals and humans. Surely this knowledge is important to us all.
We like to make something for our future generation and leave it behind with them. Like following our footsteps, fire, caring for country, looking after places.
This is an all-woman team.
The girls always come first.
Yeah.
There's men, I don't know where, we can't find them sometimes. So we're going to train the ladies.
Yep.
Talking for country, making good decisions. That's their job.
As traditional owners, we have to look after the country.
Whilst the young women are keeping the tradition of fire alive, not everyone is keen to keep up the old ways. Tristan, a young Bininj man, explains how modernity is creeping in.
Nowadays, we've got technology, iPhones and all that, all on social media at the moment, you know. Everybody worries about Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and all that. We all like social media, but the more we like social media, we forget about the cultural stuff out here. Now you spend your time on the phone like every day when you can be out over here going hunting or out learning the country. You know, there's a lot of land out there to learn, you know. It's different from the cell network, you know, like internet and all that.
Aboriginal culture is handed down and takes a lifetime of ceremony and hands-on skills to learn.
Modern technology is definitely having an influence, an impact on young people. Selfies, social media, you know, people get consumed into it. You know, what takes up our attention and our time. So if people are always on their phones, then, you know, you're not getting time to come out hunting with family. It's pretty scary, like when you think about the way things are moving. We're entering the next phase of the modern world, you know. It's going to be totally different again to what anyone's known.
Back on the hunt, the Bininj head to an area purposely burnt 3 weeks ago so new grass shoots grow to attract grazing animals.
You're not just burning for food for you, but you're burning food for the animals and the plants so that they can thrive, and then you can thrive. Looking after country, and it looks after you.
A buffalo has been spotted ahead. They are often aggressive and require a careful approach. The Bininj moves silently through the grass towards the buffalo. Only hand signals are used to communicate with each other.
I was so excited when I saw it. Neil sat from the road and boom, one shot.
The buffalo is butchered. The meat will rest overnight so that it's ready to go into the ground to cook for tomorrow's food festival. It's dawn. The buffalo goes into a ground oven of hot rocks to cook slowly for this evening's festivities.
We'll just collect this yam now that we got put in yesterday. It'll be ready to eat. If you don't process this properly, you can get sick or die. You'd be able to taste it if it was still cheeky. You'd feel it on your tongue or in your mouth, it'd burn you. But that's good. So we'll take him back now.
The festival begins with an abundance of food and ceremonial dances. The food festival is a way of celebrating country and encouraging all members of the Bininj to keep tradition alive, even those who have been drawn away by the digital age.
The kinship governs relationships, including our foods. Our worldview is that everything's split into two, Yircha and Dua, and everything's in one of those. So bush tucker, they fit into that Maori system. There's a relationship between you and the food, depending on whether it's a totem or ceremonial or cultural relationships around the food, because it carries a law with it about how we relate. So all of this food goes back all the way back to our creation times, and it will go all the way into the future, as long as keep holding it. Don't lose the story, and keep hunting for our bush tucker, because that's what keeps it alive.
Despite the digital age, the Bininj are still in tune with their environment and maintain a deep connection to country. Everything they do conscientiously and environmentally. Perhaps this is the reason why their culture has survived longer than any of us.
Plants, animals, people, country, we are all related. We're all family, everybody, and everything